cannot come to Canada broke. Hi, welcome back to my channel, and as you can see by the title down below, I moved to Canada as an international student. Now, ever since I made this public, I've been receiving a lot of questions from people I know, from people I don't know, about the process, how to get here, what route did I take, everything. So I decided to just make this video so it can be easier to relate the information to people, and I will be giving it raw and uncut, not pretty up nothing, telling you as it is. And if that is something that you're interested in seeing, stick around to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Alright, I want to start off by giving the disclaimer. I am not an immigration consultant. I cannot legally advise you. I am just going to speak about the journey from my personal experience. I have my notes here, and yeah, so I'm just going to give you any advice I can give based off my experience and basically tell you about the steps that I took. So the first thing I did when I decided, well, the first thing I would advise anybody to do if they're going to do this, come to Canada as an international student, even if you're not 100% ready to start the journey, save. You want to ensure that you're always saving, because this process is going to take a lot of money. It's going to take millions in Jamaican dollars. So you want to ensure that even if you're just thinking about it and you haven't concrete anything yet, just ensure that you're always actively saving. I'm not talking about baby save either. I'm talking about save, like real save, where you put aside and say, yeah, this is if you know. So that's the main thing. Ensure that even if you haven't applied to any school or anything, continue to save, because at the end of the day, you will need it. But the first thing you want to do after you realize, no, yes, you want to come to Canada, this is definitely what you're going to do. You want to find a school. Now, finding a school is kind of tricky because there's a lot of things to take into consideration when you choose a school. You have to look at the province the school is in. You have to look at the program cost, and trust me, international school fee is not cheap. So you want to ensure that you find something within your budget and within a province that you want to live. However, you have to ensure that this school is a designated learning institution, or a DLI. This means that once you're finished with your studies, you can apply for a postgraduate work permit if that is something that you're interested in doing, as well as from the postgraduate work permit, you go on to applying for PR if that is something that you're interested in doing. So you want to first ensure that the school you're picking is on the designated learning institution list in Canada. So you go on, just type in designated learning institutions in Canada. You see the website, you see the link for the website, and you just search the list of schools and see if they're on the list and if they offer PGWP, which is postgraduate work permit. So a lot of things can influence, or you can choose your school based on a lot of different factors. For one, let's say you have family in Canada and you know for a fact that you can stay with that relative or whoever that person is to you, maybe a close friend, maybe family, maybe a sibling, anything. Then you're going to want to base the school of your choice based off that, because you will be able to live there. So you're going to choose a school in the province that your family or whoever you will be staying with is. Then, but however, if it's a case where, like me, I did not have anybody in Canada to like stay with, you're just going to search schools and you can base it on the cost of living of that province, the program fee, and probably how easy it is to get PR in that province. So you want to find a school that offers a program. You can do either a 1-year program or a 2-year program. However, if you do a 1-year program, you are going to be granted a 1-year postgraduate work permit. So within that 1 year, you have to basically get PR, or you will be in that situation where you are trying to extend your postgraduate work permit. Now, me know my stress level, and I did not want to be in that situation. So I chose a 2-year program, because a 2-year program gives you 3 years worth of postgraduate work permit. So that's the first thing you want to do. Find the school research the school. Like, you cannot do with this thing here, you have to do a lot of research. Google everything. Canada's website is very informative. They have a lot of up-to-date information on it. So Google, research, like, just don't stop research. You cannot do enough research. Save. You cannot have enough money if you come to Canada. You cannot. Just save. Research via Google, Canada's websites, official websites. Watch YouTubers, they help a lot as well. And save. So yeah, you find the school. Oh, and by the way, I did use a representative. However, I did not use the representative until like the week before I submitted my student visa application. So I found the school on my own. I applied on my own. Everything, I gathered my documents on my own, and then I decided to just contact the representative. She was affordable, but I'll get into that. So yeah, you find the school. You can apply to more than one schools, but I did not do that because the application for the schools are not free. So you will have to be paying application fees. And in my case, my application fee was 150 Canadian dollars. And I did not want to pay another school application fee, so I applied to my school only. I got accepted, but that was basically me putting all my eggs in one basket. I would not recommend that, but if you're on a budget or you are watching how much you're spending to do this, try with one school, see if you get accepted. Try with the first choice. So yes, you apply to the designated learning institution, and applying to the school is easy. The information is on the website. You just go on the school's website that you're interested in, search international student programs. Make sure it's international students, because the school fee is going to be like 4 or 3 times the domestic students. Don't let that trick you. That tricked me before when I went to the school website and I see little bit of money for school fee. I said, but that school that cheap. It was not international students. So you want to ensure that you're searching for the international student programs and not the domestic student programs, because you will be an international student. The school fee is going to be way higher, 3 or 4 times more expensive than a domestic student. So ensure that you're on the international student tab. So yeah, you look at the requirements. Some of the programs they have, for example, I'm doing a post-degree diploma. Therefore, I had to have had a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or some form of degree before. And I had to, my school had a specific requirement of having at least 1 year work experience in my field, which is finance, and the degree and some other little requirements. So you want to look at the requirements for your school and for the program. If you see that you fit those requirements, you just go ahead and apply for the program. It's on the website. Simple, same like I sign up for on Facebook or on social media. You just sign up. If they ask for your resume, anything that they ask for, you just scan it and upload it when as a part of your application, and you wait. Now, to kind of give you an overview of my process, as in the timeline, I applied to my school in January of 2022. As the application opened, I made that. Applied in January, got accepted to the school within 2 weeks. They literally said that you will get accepted within 2 weeks if you're an early bird. And on the exact 2 week of the application, I got accepted. Then, that's January. Then I submitted my student visa application in June month end. So like the 26th of June of 2022 was when I did my biometrics. So that was completing the student visa application. Then I got approved for the student visa in August, on August 18. So if you do the math, or the time span of me getting approved from application would have been a month and probably 2 weeks for the student visa, but I'm going to get there. Now, after you've been approved for the school, so you apply, the school have accepted you, you have your acceptance letter. Now you want to gather your documents for the student visa application. Now, getting accepted in the school is the easy part. Easy breezy. Apply 2 weeks time and get accepted. Some school may take a week, some school may take a month, but that's easy. That's the easy part. Now you want to apply for the student visa, this is where it gets tricky, and this is where you're more likely to be denied for the simplest mistake. But the good thing about Canada, when you get denied, they tell you exactly why they denied you. So if they said, oh, your application was not approved because we're not satisfied that you will go back home when you're studying because you don't have enough money, you're not showing sufficient, so they will tell you, but then you can work on whatever reason they have denied you for and go again. You can always reapply. But we don't want to reapply, right? Because that means more money and time and stress and all of that. So we want to make our first application strong, and if you're working with a representative, you're working with one who is affordable and knows what they're doing. Mind you, these representatives, to be truly honest, they don't guarantee anything. They cannot guarantee that you will get approved. They cannot guarantee anything, but they have the level of expertise to ensure that you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's. And with an application process like this, to know that you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's, it gives you a level of peace of mind. But at the end of the day, it's something that you can do on your own. Just make sure you're doing your research, and make sure you have a pen and a paper to write down these tips that I'm about to give you. Now, for the student visa application, there are a list of documents that are required, mandatory, compulsory. That means a must. And then you have supporting documents that will help to build your case. So for my personal application, I had a list of documents that I'm going to submit for my supporting documents based on my personal life. So the required documents would be, one, the proof of acceptance letter. So the school would have sent you the proof of acceptance letter, so you would have had that. You want proof of identity, which is going to be your passport. Proof of funds. Your proof of funds is a must. And based on Canada's requirement, Canada wants to see your school fee in your account, your full school fee, plus 10,000 Canadian dollars for every year you're going to be there. So if you're studying a 2-year program, for example, and that 2-year program costs 20,000 Canadian dollars, that's just the school fee. But they want to see 10,000 for each year for cost of living expenses. So that would have been 20,000 plus another 20,000, because it's 10 per year. So that would have been 40,000 Canadian dollars. So you know, we're way past $3 million already, Jamaican dollars. However, in my personal experience, I did not provide the full school fee plus the cost of living expenses in its entirety. However, I did show my business, and I did demonstrate and show that I will still be earning while I'm in Canada. I did show probably 80% or 85% of what I needed to show. So it kind of give me, plus my business, plus my, I will get into that anyways. So yeah, the proof of acceptance, proof of identity, these are required now. Proof of acceptance, proof of identity, proof of funds, your letter of explanation or your statement of purpose. You're going to need your proof of employment, which is your job letter, your police record. And I'm talking on the basis of coming from Jamaica. Now, from these required documents, all of them important. All of them, they are so important. But to me, in my personal opinion, I would say that the proof of funds and the letter of explanation or statement of purpose, those two are the biggest ones. Your statement of purpose is what is going to drive your application. If that letter is not strong, it will make or break your application. So you want to, and I will do a separate video on just the letter, because it's that important. It's a critical part of the application. It's basically, remember, you're not going to do an interview, so they don't know you and they won't get a time to sit down and interview, as opposed if you're going for a visa for another country where you have to do face-to-face interviews with people. This letter is going to basically be answering every possible question that they would probably come across or think of when they're going through your application. They won't get the chance to ask you these questions. So you want to put everything in that letter, and you don't want that letter to pass. Personally, I did not want my letter to pass 2 pages, because they don't have the time to be sitting down reading all of that. They have a lot of applications to go through, so it is going to be not difficult, but you have to be really strategic on what you put in that letter, because as I said, it will make or break your application. Now, for my supporting documents, besides from what is mandatory, I also provided supporting documents, which is, one was my business registration. So I do have a small business in Jamaica, KV Pieces JA, and it's registered, so I submitted that. I also submitted proof of tuition payment. I think this should go up to mandatory. The proof of tuition payment, it's a mandatory part of the application. You have to provide that. You have to show them that you paid a portion of your school fee, so that is mandatory. At the time of my application, I submitted my vaccination certificate, because at the time, you know, we needed to be vaccinated to go into foreign countries because of the whole virus situation. I also submitted my resume, as well as my transcript or a copy of my degree. I submitted my birth certificate. I also submitted my investment portfolio, because I'm a person, I buy stocks. I have a portfolio, I have an equity portfolio, and I submitted that. That also build on my proof of funds, because I did state in my statement of purpose that these money, though they are not liquid, they can always be liquidated if I'm ever in Canada and I need additional funds. Now, at the time when I was applying, international students could only work 20 hours per week. However, since last year November up until this year December 31st 2023, we can now work any amount of hours. So that's good for us, because if you're already here or you already got accepted and you're in the process of coming here, once you land, you can work any amount of hours. So that's good. Hopefully it continues, but for now it's a 1-year pilot thing, and I guess they're just testing it out and see if it goes in a positive direction, then maybe, or I don't know. But for now, up until December 31st 2023, we can work any amount of hours. We're not per week, we're not limited to the 20 hours per week anymore, compared to what it's known for international students in Canada. So I also submitted my mother and my brother's birth certificate. No, why did I submit my mother and my brother's birth certificate? Because in my statement of purpose, I did state that my business, remember I told them I have a small business, right? And I did state that my business will still be in operation, so somebody will be managing it for me. Why I mentioned that somebody will be managing it for me is because I could not be in Canada and managing the business, because they would consider that as work. I remember at the time we were only allowed to work 20 hours per week. So if I'm already working in Canada plus managing my business, I got the advice that they probably would see that as more hours, and I would be going over the 20 hours per week. So I decided to tell them that, which is true, my mother and my family is the one managing the business and ensuring that delivery is done and stuff like that. I did tell them that now, to prove the relationship, that they're actually my mother and my brother, that is why I just submitted my mother and my brother's birth certificate. And then in my letter, I stated that the funds, the continuous cash flow from my business will also help me for my cost of living expenses here in Canada. So remember, now you want to prove to them, that prove to immigration that you can survive in Canada with as minimal work as possible, because your focus here is going to be school. You don't want to be here and putting your all on work, because that is why you have to prove to them that you already can afford school and your cost of living expenses before you even arrive here, which is why you have to show your school fee and show your cost of living expenses. They want to know that when you're finished, you're going home. So you have to have some form of asset back home, or some form of ties, family ties, some form of something that will keep you in your country. So for me, I am not a vehicle owner, I'm not a home owner, I'm not a land owner, I'm not a anything owner other from my small business. So what I did, I ensured that my business is registered because I saw that as an asset and some form of tie to my home country. So I registered, my business was registered before, so I just provided registration and I elaborated on my business in my statement of purpose, which, as I said before, I will be making a separate video for just that letter, because that letter is very critical and you want to ensure that you have a strong letter. No, I have mentioned the representative, but I haven't stated who I use. Now, I used a representative from McLinks Immigration Canada. Now, I will write it right here. And I must say that I would 150% recommend that immigration consultant. Particularly Chantal, she was my representative, and I contacted Chantal last minute. I was not going to use a representative, but when stress licked me, I want to lose some money and everything, I just decided, say, you know what? Contacted her. She was very affordable compared to the thousands of dollars I was hearing from other representatives. Chantal's joined, she's a legal immigration consultant living in Canada, so she would talk to me over Zoom. And I remember we got on a call like 7:30 in the night. Our meeting was 7:30, and Chantal and I stayed on that call till about minutes to 1 a.m. We sat there the night and we went over my entire application. She was very helpful no matter what time of day. I text Chantal, oh, you think we need to add this, you think we need to take out that? Chantal I reply, and you just never get the feeling like you're bothering her. It's like she's just doing it. You know, people who are just genuinely helping you. I'm paying for the service, but she's genuinely, you have people who you're paying, you have other representatives, they just don't give you the individual attention that you're supposed to get if you're paying this amount of money, because again, this process will cost you millions in Jamaican dollars. Even if you're doing a 1-year program, it will still cost you millions. No, I'm not sure if I should talk about the specifics of these required documents. I'm definitely going to do a separate video for the letter, because that's critical. But just to give you my timeline again, application submitted June 26, June 16, did the biometrics June 21, or June 21, I thought it was the 26th, approved August 18. So again, you can do the math. It's literally just a month time. And I've known people who got accepted for the student visa within 4 days. 4 days. However, I've also known people who have been waiting for months till they have to defer their acceptance with their school because they haven't gotten a response from the immigration, from the Canadian embassy. So it happens. I don't know, I really cannot pinpoint what they use to accept you, because I've known people who don't show the full amount of funds and get accepted. I know people who show the full amount of funds and get denied. So it really, I think one of the strongest points for the application for the student visa is your proof of funds and the letter. The letter, as I said before, the statement of purpose or letter of explanation will make or break your application. Trust me. So you want to do a lot of research where that letter is concerned. You want to ensure you're putting everything, but not too much, because again, I wouldn't recommend you to go over 2 pages. Furthermore, persons were telling me 1 page, but I just could not fit my information on 1 page. So mine was 2 pages. And again, I may eventually share my entire letter, like come on here and share it, but I'm not sure if I'm there yet. But I will come here and give tips for that letter. Proof of funds is a tricky one. I'm gonna be real. A lot of people, they just let their family send them money and they use it for the proof of funds, get accepted. But that's your decision if you want to do that. However, my recommendation from my experience, even if you do that, you want to ensure that when you come here, you still have at least the school fee. May I tell you, you cannot come to Canada broke, because trust me, the money will go by so fast, and it's not cheap here. Cost of living is not cheap. Finding a place to rent, oh my god, finding a place to rent, if you're going to be renting, staying with family, and trust me, staying with family at times turns out worse than if you were staying by yourself. A lot of I've known people who are staying with family and it goes bad and they have to literally find somewhere to live last minute. So you want to ensure that, like, there's so much I could tell you, but if you want to ensure that if you're staying in family, it's literally family who are genuine, have your best interest at heart, and would want to see the best for you and would not put you out on the road in the middle of the snow, not to mention the snow. But I think I will do a part 2 for this video. And again, please, if you have any questions, please leave them in your comments, in the comment section. Like the video, subscribe, share the video. A lot of people will want to see this video. And again, make sure you rewatch the video if you need to, and make notes. Write them in, because trust me, when I was doing this, I write down everything, every single thing. You actually have the money, because honestly, it's going to be hard to try to work the school fee while you're here. If you come with your school fee and you actually work your cost of living expense, that's more doable than trying to work your cost of living expenses plus your school fee. Because you're going to have phone bill if you take out a SIM card. Cost of living expenses, they will add up. They will add up, and you want to ensure that you're ready. Just come here with an open mind. Trust me. It takes a lot, but it is possible. Another thing I want to say about the proof of funds, Canada wants to see history. So yes, you can print the statement just showing the balance, but the history is critical, because they know that people are just using funds from family, funds from friends, just putting it in the account for statements. They know, so they want to see transactional history. In my case, I gave them 4 months worth of transaction history, so it showed that my deposits were consistent. It wasn't just a big lump sum going into my account all of a sudden as soon as the statement is due. No, I had consecutive amounts being deposited into my account from my salary, my business, and other business ventures that I do. So it was a trend. I developed a trend, and I ensured that nothing was suspicious, that they would say, all of a sudden 800,000 go in our account. No, where would that come from? I know win the lotto, I know win nothing. So, you know, my monthly deposits, they were consistent, and I developed the pattern to show, and I did explain all of this in my letter. So again, I've known people who got accepted with just the balances, but on the website for Canada, Immigration IRCC website, they state that they want to see at least 4 months history. And furthermore, my bank was JMMB, and JMMB said to me that they have to show 6 months. Once it's going to Canada, they have to show a 6 months transactional history. So I don't know. So again, if you're thinking about the process, you want to just start saving. Develop the habit of depositing money into your account. Save, because you will need it. You will need it. Now, if I am going to talk about my actual journey of coming here, like the literal travel, when I booked a flight from Kingston, Jamaica to Toronto, and then from Toronto to my city, I had a connecting flight, a 3-hour layover. However, my flight in Jamaica was delayed, so you don't know, the layover time cut down, and when you land in Toronto or wherever the main airport that you land, you are going to have to go to immigration. So even when booking your flight, you have to be strategic. I would not recommend, if you have a connecting flight, I would not recommend you book a flight with 1 hour layover, because more than likely, especially if you're coming in the winter, I came in the winter time, so The flights, they tend to delay a lot more because of the snow and the weather. Just a lot of factors can allow the flight to cause the flight to delay. So my flight from Jamaica was delayed by an hour and some. So my layover time was cut short by an hour and some, and it was originally 3 hours. And when you get into your main airport, you have to go to immigration. That's when you're actually going to get your study permit. That is when they actually give you the study permit, and trust me, you can be denied there. However, it's not something that's common. You have to have a drastic change in your something happen, like you submitted a police record with no criminal record, and all of a sudden you have a criminal record in between the time. So you want to have your documents again when you come to immigration. So I'm telling you as much as possible. When you get to immigration, and the immigration process, when people told me about it, I thought it was a bit scary, because literally that's when they decide if they're actually giving you the actual study permits and the work permits, if you're supposed to get a work permit, because not every program will allow you to get a work permit. But you can still work. But I'm doing a co-op program. I have internship in my program, so I got a student, the bus is passing, I got a study permit and a work permit. So, but it is decided by the immigration officer at the border. So when you get to the border, you have to have, each immigration officer is different, so it really depends. So when I landed in Toronto, I checked the time and I realized, and then you keep getting emails from your connecting flight saying your flight will leave in this time, and I was like, how am I going to get done at immigration in time for my next flight? Long story short, I made it to the immigration officer. He asked me for, and again, there were a number of immigration officers at different windows, and I was observing them all, and I was praying not to go to a specific one, because I was like, no, she is being hard. So I saw the man flying through them quickly, and I was saying, please God, let me go to her, let me go to him and not the other one. Anyways, I went to the male immigration officer. He asked me, again, you have to provide your documents. So you want to walk with your proof of funds again, print an updated one if it needs to be updated, because in my case I got approved in August, so which would have meant that the proof of funds that I submitted at the time of application would have needed to be updated, because I'm traveling in December. So I applied with a gap in between I didn't want it to be last minute. I wanted to have time, if they would have denied me, to probably reapply before the start of my program, which is in January. So you want to walk with your documents, walk with your proof of payment, walk with everything that you gave them on paper. So you want to walk with the actual documents. But what my immigration officer asked me for, he did not ask me for my proof of funds again. He asked me for the acceptance letter from the school. He asked me for proof of tuition payment. Of course, he took my passport, and he took there's a letter that you get at a receipt thing that you get at a kiosk machine. He asked me for that. And he asked me where I'm coming from. I did say Kingston, Jamaica. His response was, why would you leave paradise and come to Canada in the winter? We want to go there and you're coming here. So it was like a casual conversation. It wasn't anything that oh my God, interview and immigration. In my personal experience. So he just reviewed my letter, my documents, and then he stamped my passport, and then he handed me well, at the time, because it was a rush, they did a batch print of the permits, and he handed me the study permit and work permit. So I think that's basically all that I'm going to cover in this video. But to just reiterate the important things, you want to find a school in a province that you can afford, and you can base this on whether or not you have family living in that province, family that you can stay with, family who you know would not put you out, family who you know, even if you have to pay them rent, they would still treat you fairly and have your best interest at heart. However, if you don't have any family and you're just coming on your own, oh, and by the way, if you're married and you have children, you can bring them with you, but that's a whole different story. That wasn't my case, so I can't speak on that. But you can do your research where that is concerned. So find that designated learning institution, apply, get accepted in the school, then you gather your documents for the student visa application. And again, the documents that you submit is really dependent on your personal situation. For example, if it is that you were going to stay with family, you will have to submit something called an affidavit of support, stating that you will be staying with your aunt or your uncle or whosoever that, and they are responsible for you, and you can get there's a lot of way to build your case, but I was just speaking on my personal experience. I did not have like the family to stay with or anything like that, so I did not have to do an affidavit of support or whatever it's called. But from my knowledge, and again, please do your research, you cannot do enough research. From my knowledge, what you would do is you would get the person who will be housing you or sponsoring you, they would have to provide a lot of things as well. So they would get the affidavit of support letter. They would have to prove that they can support you financially if they are going to be supporting you financially. So this would mean that they are showing their bank statement, their proof of account, their proof of employment, and you would have to prove the relationship. So if the person is your aunt, for example, you would have to show, if she's your mother's sister, you'd have to show your mother's birth certificate plus your aunt's birth certificate to show the relation. But again, each case is different. Each person's portfolio or profile will be different depending on their situation. So you want to make sure that you do your research, watch YouTube videos, especially the Jamaica. If you're coming from Jamaica, you want to watch the Jamaicans, they will tell you. And it's not easy. It is not going to be easy. Probably shed a tear or two, but it's possible. So don't count yourself out. Just save, do your research, and make wise decisions. And yeah, that's basically it for now. I will do more. I think I will do an upcoming video on the statement of purpose. I can't tell you when because girl busy. School and I'm not even gonna get into that, but school is going to be intense, especially if you're doing postgraduate studies. And you don't have to do postgraduate studies. If you don't have a degree already, you can apply for a regular certificate or a regular diploma that does not require a degree. But just have your money, just have your money saved. And I can't stress save enough, because trust me, you don't want to come here and you don't have it. It is going to make it twice as hard. It's already not an easy journey. You're taking a big risk, but you want to ensure that certain areas are covered before you get here. But the video is long enough, and again, if you have any other questions, anything at all, you can leave it in the comments below. Please like the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you watch the entire video and you're right here right now. If you realize that you haven't subscribed, just subscribe. It's free, and you will see my upcoming videos. And again, I will make a video about the statement of purpose and anything else that I can answer based off the questions in the comments below. So yeah, thank you all for watching. If you watched the entire video, thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And again, please leave a comment on if you have any question. Once I can answer, I will answer. You can feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram is right here. Send me a DM, leave a comment. If you don't want to publicly leave your comment, you can just send me a DM on Instagram. I will answer. But yeah, that's basically it. Again, I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video, share, and subscribe. Stick around for the next video. Again, I will be doing a video on the statement of purpose from my knowledge. So that's basically it.